Hi guys, today we talking about Tyree Moorehead, a name that had the city of Baltimore split down the middle. He was a gang member, a convicted murderer, a street activist, and depending on who you ask, a hero or a man completely out of control.
Tyree Moorehead, the voice for no shoot zones in the city, was shot this morning. WJZ is live, new at 7. Annie Rose Ramos, you just spoke with Tyree, I understand, who's out of the hospital. So what did he have to say?
Denise and Rick, a very dramatic scene unfolding here just within the past 2 hours. Now, to give you an idea, we are on North Luzerne Avenue.
Listen what I'm saying. You see it's all on my front. Now, you done threw water on my front. You done threw water on my... I'm going to up, but if you come over here again, I'm you, man. I'm going to you, man. All right? I'm not going to threaten you no more, but if you come over here again, I'm going to you, man.
I want to go over to here behind me. This is where Tyree Moorehead has been living, according to neighbors. That is the victim from this morning's shooting. And guys, if you can just look to my left, you will see him right now in those hospital scrubs. Police have surrounded this area along with a SWAT team and firefighters. They have surrounded him as well. You can see Rick and Denise, he is completely in hospital scrubs. That is because he was shot earlier this morning on Rose Street and Monument.
Are mourning an anti-violence activist who was killed during an encounter with police in West Baltimore. The police commissioner says Tyree Moorehead assaulted a woman with a knife and refused to put the knife down, so an officer shot him multiple times.
Hey, send more units, send more units, send more units!
Send more units! Get down!
Get down!
Make sure you go to my website, toptrendreporttv.com, to see the full montage of his story with all the uncut crazy parts in it, with him getting stabbed, from him getting shot by the police, and many other crazy encounters he had throughout the community. You can find this all in the murder surveillance section. Tyree Moorehead was born in Baltimore in the mid-1970s and grew up in the city's rough inner-city housing projects. He lived in Lafayette Courts, a public housing complex on Baltimore's west side known for gangs and drugs. As a boy, he attended local schools but was raised amid violence and poverty. By his early teens, he was on the streets all day, surrounded by the crime and gang life that were common in his neighborhood. Moorehead joined a local street gang in his teens and quickly became involved in shootings. He has admitted later that he carried a gun from a very young age. In interviews, he estimated that he fired a weapon dozens of times when he was 13, 14, and 15 years old. Those years in Baltimore's gang wars were a time of almost daily violence, and Moorehead became a feared young gunman. Neighbors recall hearing gunshots and sirens frequently as gang disputes played out in the narrow alleys and streets where he lived. When Tyree was 15, he was arrested in Lafayette Courts after another teenager was shot to death. Police said the killing appeared to be tied to local drug deals and gang rivalry. Moorehead and at least one other young man were identified as suspects. He was charged with second-degree murder in that case. According to court records and news reports, the police investigation tied Moorehead to the shooting, and he was eventually brought to trial for the crime. In court, Tyree Moorehead was tried as an adult on the murder charge. The trial lasted several days, with prosecutors showing evidence of his involvement. The jury found him guilty of second-degree murder. He received a very long prison sentence, originally up to 20 years behind bars. In the mid-1990s, at age 15 or 16, Moorehead was sent to an adult correctional facility. The judge hoped the extra years would serve as punishment for the killing and as a deterrent, but it marked the beginning of a tough journey for him. Moorehead served nearly 2 decades in prison. During those years, he had to adapt to life locked inside. Like many inmates, he faced a strict daily routine, hard work details, and the constant presence of other prisoners, including violent offenders. Prison records indicate he spent time in state prisons for most of his sentence. Over the years, Tyree said he began to reflect on his past. He attended some classes and even taught other inmates. Drawing on his street experience, he also became known for studying religious texts. He quoted the Quran and later would speak of finding faith and purpose. These spiritual practices and the long months behind bars changed his outlook, according to later interviews. Moorehead was released from prison in early 2010 after serving about 18 years. He was then in his mid-30s, having grown up in jail. After parole, he returned to Baltimore with few possessions but a determination to start over. He immediately reconnected with family and community members. He also revived his love of music, this time as a rapper. Adopting his old nickname Tyree Coleon, he recorded songs about his life and the city's problem. But more than music, he had a new mission in mind. He wanted to fight the very violence he had once been part of. Soon after getting out of prison, he told friends he was on a mission to end the cycle of shootings in Baltimore. He publicly announced plans to spread an anti-violence message, using his own story as proof that even someone with a violent past could choose peace. Tyree Moorehead became best known for creating the city's No Shoot Zone campaign. Beginning around 2015, he started walking the streets of Baltimore's most dangerous neighborhoods looking for places where people had been shot. Using a can of bright paint, he would spray the words "No Shoot Zone" on walls, steps, alley entrances, or street corners where killings or shootings had occurred. His idea was simple: mark these areas as sacred space where no one should fire another gun. Over the next few years, he painted hundreds of zones across the city, on brick walls, behind corner stores, on building sites near crime scenes, and even on playground fences. Each time he painted, he often filmed himself on his phone or broadcast live online explaining what the sign meant. He said he did it with the permission of neighbors or storefront owners when possible, and with the hope of deterrent future violence there. Moorehead's campaign was not without controversy or danger. Some local officials and police officers viewed his graffiti as vandalism. In 2017, he was arrested and charged with destruction of property after spray painting a no-shoot zone sign on a privately owned wall in a Baltimore County neighborhood. He explained to police that he was acting with a citizen's urgency to stop violence, but he still had to spend some time dealing with the legal fallout. That same year, he was attacked himself. A male relative stabbed him in the neck in what police later called a domestic dispute. Tyree posted a chilling video of himself bleeding from the wound, urging bystanders to keep pushing the no-shoot zones before losing consciousness. He survived the stabbing, but had to recover in the hospital for weeks. On the street, he also became a target of violence. In August 2022, as he walked to church near East Monument Street, he was shot at close range by unknown assailants. The bullet struck him in the torso and he fell to the ground, but he survived that attack as well. After receiving emergency medical care, investigators searched for a motive and suspects, but the case remained unsolved for months.
I was shot 3 times. Bullet went through my jaw, my neck, and one is still in my back.
Through it all, Moorehead kept painting zones and urging Baltimoreans to honor them. He did sometimes clash with police.
Don't get rough with him, yo! Don't get rough with him!
While some officers respected his anti-violence message, others felt frustrated that tagging murals on city property was illegal. He was often described in the media as a rap artist, activist, and convicted murderer, and opinions were mixed. To many residents, though, he was simply a man who had paid his debt and turned his life around to help his community. On the afternoon of November 6, 2022, Tyree Moorehead's life came to a tragic end. Police in West Baltimore received a 911 call about a man assaulting a woman with a knife near North Fulton and Lafayette Avenue. When officers arrived at about 3:40 p.m., they found Moorehead on the sidewalk with a large kitchen knife standing over a woman who was sitting on the ground. The woman appeared to be unharmed, but bystanders said she was frightened. Police yelled at Moorehead to drop the weapon and get on the ground. According to later reports, he slowly complied by lying on the woman, but still refused to release the knife or show his hands. I can't show the full thing on YouTube, so go to my website, TypeTrendReportTV.com, to see the full, uncut version in the murder surveillance section. Within seconds, a single police officer fired multiple times. Moorehead was struck by a hail of bullets. Reports say up to a dozen shots hit him. The video from the officer's body camera, later released under investigation policy, shows the officer stopping shooting only after Moorehead fell from the woman. The woman was not injured in the shooting. Emergency medics rushed Moorehead to a hospital, but he succumbed to his wounds a few hours later. He was 46 years old. The shooting was widely reported as a police-involved fatality. The Baltimore Police Commissioner held a news conference that night, noting the woman was safe and unhurt. The Independent Investigations Division of the State Attorney General's office took over the case. Moorehead's family immediately questioned why the officer fired so many shots. His father, who was at the scene, later said he believed his son had already complied when the bullets came. The woman Moorehead was with told investigators that he had taken her purse and was dragging her into the street when he was shot. In any case, the official report found the officer's actions justified under policy. In September 2023, the Baltimore State's attorney announced no criminal charges would be filed against the officer. Tyree Moorehead's death shocked many in Baltimore. Around the city, residents placed flowers and candles at makeshift memorials under no-shoot zone signs he had painted. On the sidewalks near the shooting site, people chalked messages like "Forever Tyree" and shared his rap music online. Even those who knew his violent past remembered him as a man devoted to peace in his later years. In a social media statement, Baltimore's mayor and others praised Moorehead's dedication to stopping gun violence. His story remains complicated, a youth hardened by decades of killing and an adult trying to save lives. Moorehead once said he walked a narrow line between two worlds. In the end, he became an unlikely symbol of a community struggle and its hope. In the fight against gunfire, his life showed both the depths of the city's violence and the possibility of change for those willing to try.